By now you should have learned a little bit about thesis statements from reading Chapter 3 and from watching the thesis video from our textbook publisher. Well, those sources give you a good background for what a thesis statement is and how to write one. I want to take this one step further and help you write better, clearer, more specific thesis statements. So we're going to talk about what a thesis is, the 3 things a thesis should avoid, the 3 things a thesis should do, and then we will look at some examples of thesis statements, and if they're not specific, how we can fix them to make them better and clearer for the paper. So let's review what a thesis is. A thesis is simply the main point of your essay, and it tells the reader what the essay is about. Your thesis goes in your introduction, so by the end of your introduction, your reader should know exactly what to expect out of your paper. As we learn more about writing essays in this class, and we talk about the essay format, introductions, and conclusions, you'll see that the number 3 is going to pop up quite a bit. And our first meeting with the number 3 will be to talk about thesis statements, specifically the 3 things a thesis should avoid. Your thesis should not simply state just a fact. Should also not state just an opinion. Now, you can write up an essay about a fact, and you can write an essay about an opinion, but we need to add to your thesis statement so it's not just a fact or just your opinion. The third thing a thesis should avoid is being too vague. We will look more at these reasons in detail as to why these make for poor thesis statements, and then we'll talk about how to fix them. Let's examine what happens when your thesis only states a fact. Let's say this is our thesis statement. The film 12 Years a Slave won the 2013 Academy Award for Best Picture. That's great. That's a perfectly acceptable essay topic. So what exactly is the problem with this thesis statement? Well, the problem is, you just told me everything I need to know. If all you want to say is that this film won an award, that's great. I have nothing else to expect from your paper. So what else are you planning on saying? If you don't change this thesis, you're going to have a 1-sentence essay. Another thing a thesis should avoid is stating just an opinion. Here's an example thesis that is only an opinion. Homosexuals should be allowed to be legally married. Okay, that is a perfectly good claim, and that can be the topic of a persuasive essay. So what's the problem with this? Well, if you disagree with this statement, if your reader disagrees with this statement, you've just offended that reader. And if that reader feels strongly about this topic, that reader will no longer even bother to read the rest of your paper and will never find out why you have this particular belief. Finally, a thesis should avoid being too vague. Here's an example of a vague thesis statement. There are many weight loss supplements on the market today. Okay, you could go and write a paper on this. This is a good topic as well. So exactly what is the problem with this thesis statement? Well, most likely, the assignment for this topic would be a short paper. This thesis, that there are many weight loss supplements available today, is so broad, and this would end up creating a paper that might be twice as long as your instructor asked you to write. So with this thesis, we would need to consider how to narrow the topic down so we have one specific aspect of weight loss supplements to write about. Well, now that I've told you not what to do, let's look at the 3 things a thesis should do. First of all, your thesis should state your claim, or your position, or your topic. Exactly what point are you trying to make? Then, your thesis should include the main points of the paper. This lets your reader know exactly what to expect and really sets up the paper nicely. Finally, your thesis should be a statement, not a question. It should end with a period, not a question mark. If you're trying to make a point here, you shouldn't be doing it with a question, or your reader won't be sure if you're asking them what they think, or if you are indeed trying to make a point. Okay, so now that we know what not to do and what to do, let's look at how to fix thesis statements that maybe aren't so good. Let's go back to our fact thesis statement. The 12 Years a Slave won the 2013 Academy Award for Best Picture. Well, if you really want to talk about this and you want to make sure you have more than a 1-sentence essay, how can you fix this thesis? Add why or how the film won the award. And those why and how statements are the main points of your essay. So here is an improved thesis statement. 12 Years a Slave won the 2013 Academy Award for Best Picture because of its talented actors, its well-written script, and willingness to confront historical racial prejudice. This thesis still has the fact that 12 Years a Slave won an award, but now it includes why, and it's no longer just a fact. As we move on in this video, you will see how exactly this thesis sets up the paper to let the reader know exactly what to expect. So how does this thesis set up the paper? Well, the first body paragraph will be the first main point, the talented actors. The second main point, the well-written script, will become the second body paragraph of the essay, and the third main point, the willingness to confront historical racial prejudice, will be the third body paragraph. So now the reader can tell, when they read the introduction, that they are going to specifically read about the actors, the script, and the confrontation of prejudice in this paper. So it's also nice for you as the writer, because once you have declared your thesis statement, you can now make sure that you stay on topic. If you begin writing about something that isn't the actors, or the script, or the racial prejudice, then you know that you're writing off topic of your thesis. Let's look back at our opinion thesis statement. The homosexual should be allowed to be legally married. In order to fix this so as not to offend my reader, I just need to add the reasons why I believe this. So here's the improved thesis statement with some reasons why. Homosexuals should be allowed to be legally married because they deserve equal rights, may need benefits that are reserved for legally married couples, and should have a chance to be with the person they love. Now, this is still my opinion, and anyone who disagrees with me strongly may begin reading this paper very skeptically. However, it's not as offensive because I have stated 3 good, strong reasons why I have this opinion. So this thesis about homosexuals being married sets up our paper quite nicely. Our first body paragraph would explain the equal rights, and this might go into some historical detail about the fight for equal rights with African Americans, women's rights, etc. My second body paragraph would talk about need for benefits, such as insurance, the ability to make medical decisions for their partner, and all of those things. And my third body paragraph would talk about the right to be with someone who you love. Perhaps the most difficult type of thesis to fix is the thesis that is too vague. So let's look at our vague example. There are many weight loss supplements on the market today. Well, to fix this, we just need to be more specific. Exactly what about weight loss supplements are you going to discuss? Do you want to talk about why there are so many? Do you want to talk about what some of those weight loss supplements are? Let's assume that we want to talk about why there are so many weight loss supplements available. So here's one option to improve this thesis statement. There are many weight loss supplements on the market today because people are lazy, they want to look like models and movie stars, and they don't want to give up their favorite foods. This option discusses 3 reasons why there are so many weight loss products available and helps us narrow down that broad topic of weight loss pills to a more manageable size topic for a paper. This thesis sets up the paper very nicely. Our first body paragraph would explain that people are lazy. They want to lose weight, but they don't want to exercise. Our second body paragraph would talk about the fact that people want to look like models and movie stars and the influence of advertising on our ideal body aesthetics. And the third body paragraph would talk about the fact that people don't want to give up their favorite foods. They don't want to eat healthy to lose weight. Let's revisit that vague thesis statement. There are many weight loss supplements on the market today. And maybe this time we don't want to talk about why there are so many, we want to talk about what some of those weight loss supplements are. So here's another option to improve our vague thesis statement. There are many weight loss supplements on the market today, such as Dexatrim, Hydroxycut, and Liporedex. So this thesis discusses some of the specific weight loss supplements available, and again takes that broad topic of weight loss supplements and narrows it down into maybe discussing 3 different types. This thesis sets up the paper very nicely. Our first body paragraph would be about Dexatrim, our second paragraph would be about Hydroxycut, and our third paragraph would be about Liporedex. So now that we've seen how to correct thesis statements that are doing one of the 3 things a thesis should avoid, they're just facts, just opinions, or they are too vague, I want to take a moment to show you exactly how these improved thesis statements do the 3 things they should. So let's look at our improved fact thesis statement. The 12 Years a Slave won the 2013 Academy Award for Best Picture because of its talented actors, its well-written script, and its willingness to confront historical racial prejudice. Now, do you remember what the 3 things a thesis should do are? They should state your claim, have the 3 main points, and be a statement and not a question. Well, does this thesis state a claim? Absolutely. My claim is, there are 3 reasons the film won the Academy Award. Does this thesis state the 3 main points? Sure. My 3 main points are the actors, the script, and the confronting racial prejudice. And is this thesis a statement, and a declarative sentence and not a question? Absolutely. Alright, so let's look at our next thesis statement, our opinion thesis statement. Homosexuals should be allowed to be legally married because they deserve equal rights, they need benefits that are reserved for legally married couples, and should have a chance to be with the person they love. Does this thesis statement state a claim, a position, a topic? Yes, my claim is that gay people should be allowed to get married. Does this thesis include the 3 main points? Of course it does. The 3 main points are equal rights, benefits, and being with who you love. And finally, this thesis is a statement. It is a declarative sentence with a period, and it is not a question. Okay. And then we have our vague option 1 in proof thesis statement. That there are many weight loss supplements on the market today because people are lazy, they want to look like models and movie stars, and they don't want to give up their favorite foods. Is this thesis stating a claim? Of course, my claim is there are a lot of supplements out there. Does this thesis have 3 main points? It does. That people are lazy, they want to look like other famous people, and that they don't want to give up their favorite foods. And finally, this thesis is a statement and not a question. Our last example thesis statement was the second option for improving the vague weight loss supplement thesis, that there are many weight loss supplements on the market today, such as Dexatrim, Hydroxycut, and Liporedex. Let's make sure this thesis fits the 3 things a thesis should do. Does it state a claim? Yes, it does. The claim is still there are many weight loss supplements available. Does it state the 3 main points? Yes, but now my 3 main points are 3 types of supplements, the Dexatrim, the Hydroxycut, and the Liporedex. And finally, this thesis is also a statement and not a question. So in summary, we talked about the 3 things a thesis should avoid. A thesis should not state just a fact, should not state just an opinion, and it should not be too vague. We looked at how to fix those types of thesis statements by adding how or why, using statements that start with because or such as. And then we also talked about the 3 things a thesis should do. A thesis should state your claim, should include the paper's main points, and it should be a statement and not a question. When writing thesis statements in this class, I will expect that your thesis avoids all of those 3 things and does the 3 things it should do. And that's a good model you should use to write any thesis statement for any paper, as it really does a nice job of preparing your reader for what the paper will be about and helps keep you as the writer on track so you don't go off topic.